Today I'm going to show you how to make this delicious chili mac and cheese soup all in one pot. I'm taking a page out of my cookbook volume 2, Chili Mac and Cheese Soup. It's one of our favorite recipes that I make, and it's really simple. Happens all in one pot. First thing we're going to do is add 1 tablespoon of cooking oil to our large pot. I'm just using a cast iron Dutch oven. We're going to place this on medium-high heat. We're going to let this heat up while we prepare our bell pepper. Now, bell pepper is not in the original recipe in my cookbook or in the blog, but we've come to find out that we really like it in the recipe. Now, I've cut the 4 sides off of the bell pepper, and I'm just going to cut the sides into strips. Now, the pepper cooks the longest, so we're starting with the pepper first. I'm just going to take the strips and then just cut them into dices. This soup cooks pretty fast, so we want everything kind of small. We're going to go ahead and add our diced peppers to the hot oil. Alright, while these are softening up, I'm going to add an onion. So I'm going to go ahead and dice this up really quick while we take about 2 to 3 minutes to soften those down. I'm just cutting the ends off, cutting the outside layer of skin off. Now this is a very large onion, so I'm going to cut it in half and just use the half. If you're using a medium onion, then you can use the full onion. I'm just cutting slices 3/4 of the way through the onion. Just stand it on its end. Make slices 3/4 of the way through. Turn it back over, and then just run your knife through. We're going to go ahead and add this to our green bell pepper. We're going to cook this down another minute or so until the onions are nice and soft. In the meantime, I'm going to season with a little bit of salt. And some black pepper. Got some garlic here. I've got 2 cloves that I'm going to pull off of the bulb. I'm just going to take my knife, place it on, and break it up. Just peel the skin off. I'm just going to take my garlic, chop it up. We're going to add this to the onions and bell pepper. Okay, we're going to cook this for 1 more minute. That's just to release the flavors of the garlic. We are ready to add our ground beef. I have 1 pound. I'm just going to use my meat chopper. I'm going to break up the ground beef into the pepper, onion, and garlic. Cook it until the ground beef is no longer pink. Okay, my meat is all browned up. I'm going to push it off to the side. And I just want to drain some of that grease out that's in here. I just like to use some paper towels and just kind of roll them up, put them into the bottom of the pot. Then I'm just going to use my spoon, push it down, and push it into the meat. This way I don't have to empty out the meat into a strainer or into another dish and have lots of dishes. Okay, this is a one pot dish and we don't want to use too much of anything else. So there we go. All right, you see, that's what we're taking out. Okay, in my recipe, it calls for 1 can of diced tomatoes. Now, we are actually going to add some green chilies to it. So I've got 4 ounces of green chilies that come in a can. They're diced, and we're going to add both of these to our ground beef. Now, the recipe does not call for green chilies, but I'm going to add 4 ounces of diced green chilies. Just because over time my family has enjoyed that in there also, so the recipe has kind of evolved. I'm going to mix this together. All right, we need to season to make this chili flavored, which we have right here. 1 tablespoon of chili powder. 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. I love this. It adds a nice warm flavor to the dish. I've got 1 teaspoon of black pepper. We're going to season with 1 teaspoon of salt. Let's mix this all together. Smells good in there. Let's talk about broth. I'm using Better Than Bouillon chicken flavor. You could also use beef flavor. I use chicken flavor because it's just a lighter flavor inside of your beef, and y'all, it works perfectly, okay? Now, if you want to use beef, you can do that also. I'm preparing 4 teaspoons of this with 4 cups of water. And I just whisked it together, and I'm going to pour it into my mixture. We're going to put our burner onto a high heat. We want to bring this to a boil. Now what you can do is take a spoon and give it a taste. You want to make sure your flavors are where you want them before we finish this off. That is so delicious. It's very warm, comforting. And I know, I read some of you guys' channel this morning and y'all had like 6 to 8 inches of snow this morning. I know y'all are ready for some delicious soup. Wow. It's like 60 degrees here. Y'all let me know what your weather is like where you're at right now, if you're ready for this soup. Oh, I can't wait for this one. Oh, that soup is boiling. What we're going to do is add our pasta. This is chili mac and cheese soup. So I am using this elbow pasta, which looks like a macaroni with your macaroni and cheese. So I've got 12 ounces, and I'm going to add the whole thing into the pot here. Now the recipe in the cookbook calls for 10 ounces. You could go 10 ounces or you can go 12 ounces. Okay guys, I had to make some more soup. My son called and he said he wants to have lunch with us, so I gotta put his portion of the broth in there. Plus I'm hoping for some leftovers. I'm going to bring this back to a boil. We're still on high heat. Okay, we've got a boil back on our soup here. We're going to place the burner on a medium-low. We're going to place the lid on. We're going to cook this for about 13 to 15 minutes until that pasta is nice and tender and cooked through. I'm going to come back just a few times, remove the lid, give it a stir, and make sure that nothing is sticking to the bottom of the pot. Now if you want to add more liquid, add more broth, then that's fine at that time. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna finish this off because it is a chili mac and cheese soup. Okay, the soup is done. Look at this. The pasta is cooked through. I did go back and add an additional cup of broth because the pasta really absorbed a lot of it. We're going to add the cheese, 8 ounces shredded cheddar cheese. Now you want to make sure your burner is turned off. And then I'm going to stir that cheese in. Delicious chili mac and cheese soup all in one pot. Who's jealous? I think I'm the lucky one right now. Here goes my bite. Definitely cheesy. Definitely has that chili flavor in it. And it didn't hurt to put that cumin in there, the green chilies. It's not a hot soup. It's very warm, very comforting, and I'm going to tell you, y'all sitting out there in that cold winter snow already, make you one of these. Okay, you can find this recipe in my cookbook volume number 2. I will link it down below in the description box if you want to check it out. And also you can find it on my recipe blog at catherinesplates.com. Okay guys, give me a thumbs up, comment down below your favorite soup of the season. I will see you on my next episode.